Way down there, you can see where Gabriel and I yesterday were working on the bridge in the alders. I'm gathering stuff up that I have around, fiberglass, almost whatever, to see if I can build that bridge. I even took a building apart that I'd started right down there where all the pallets are stacked, because I can use that material, and I want to rebuild that building anyway. Let me zoom, see if I can zoom and still stay fairly steady. I'm going to show you a closer look of it a little bit later. Bye for now. I want to stop and talk about willows for a little bit. Here's one kind of willow, and I did trim it so that it wasn't going to interfere with my zonia. And I think my intent is to let it grow into a tree. Not sure about that. Here's another kind of willow, I think different. Again, I pruned it a little to keep it out of the zonia. There's another willow right there that's like the one behind me that I first filmed. Again, see, I pruned them just so they wouldn't interfere with the zonias. There's a willow, there's a willow. These are all volunteers. There's a willow of the tree kind, I guess is what I'm going to call it. But then, and another, I mean, there must be 30 or more volunteers from the last 2 years. But that row of light green willow rods, I really should prune them, harvest them, even though they're kind of short. I'll harvest some of them for sure. There's that row, and there's that row, both of which I planted almost 40, almost 50, I almost want to say, years ago. And I have pruned them. Now, it's important to understand that the pigs don't eat willow. I don't know if they'd eat willow if they were starving or not. Humans do as aspirin. I don't know if you knew that, but acetylsalicylic acid, I think, is what it's called. And you could get the same effect from chewing willow bark. But after I'm done cleaning here, I'm going to go down and show you the willows down closer to the bridge being built in the alders. That's where I was. Now here's a close-up of these two rows of willows. I really probably will, or I certainly should, harvest them. They don't seem to grow so big. This seems to be what they want to do. And I think there'd be a use for them. I just don't know. But in any case, I'm beginning to think strongly that willow is going to be a plant that I nurture and learn about. There are some more that are like the tree kind of willows. Been a lot of lovemaking going on here last few weeks. Only got one boar and he's young. He's been busy. Now this is willow that grows like along the ground and not straight up. I think it's called swamp willow. That's what I call it. And I have pretty aggressively cut that back because its habit of growing tends to be out across waterways or pathways, waterways especially. So I've been kind of at war with that swamp willow. But then down here, and I'll film closer soon, these I think I'm going to harvest today. Now see these, look how long these rods are, and I think that's what you do call them. I tended to call them wands, willow wands, but I think the right term for them, at least in normal willow talk, is rods. And they're long, and therefore useful, and about the same diameter the whole way up. I don't know if these are basket willows, because I did plant basket willows down there. I'm not going to go down there now. But I think today, Gabriel's coming to work, and it's going to rain. We're going to be working inside. But part of the day, I think I'm going to harvest these with him. It's more fun to do it with two people because you can kind of talk to each other about what you're doing. Incoming. I think I was saying outgoing when I turned the camera off. I'm going to get some visitors. Yesterday, I don't think I told you. Yesterday I sent some, we harvested Gabriel and I harvested a bunch of these, and I asked him to take them home. He's homeless. Take him to his tent under the bridge. There go the geese again. And see what he could do. See if he could make any kind of a basket. Now he doesn't. I think the only way he can watch a YouTube video is on his smartphone. So I don't know how much he could, but I looked a little bit myself, and I'm sure, I have no doubt whatsoever that I or he or both can make baskets. But I'm more interested now in this idea of harvesting them for next year so that they get ever better. I think I was in my 20s before I'd ever heard wild geese, and that was when I was in New Hampshire carpenter. That's how much time I spent in cities indoors, or in a city. There's the makings of the bridge in the alders, and I'll go there in a minute, but while I'm here, I wanted to show you that when Gabriel and I tore this little start of a building down and sorted it out by material, one of the things I wanted was those 4x4s. I'm going to saw them in half, which then they'll be about 4 feet long, and I will have certainly all the, I'll call those joists that I need for that bridge. Now I'll step across here and show you a little bit more of that. Okay, what we did yesterday here, it wasn't raining, it was a good day to do it, was I put those tires with the rims in them. That's why I don't just, they're very hard to get rid of, and they're also very heavy, so I regarded them as stones, big stones. And so there you see 6 big stones in a V with the point upstream, and that's going to be what's in the water. These I-beams, these fiberglass I-beams, I've gotten at a sale probably for nothing. And then the longer I-beams, I'm just now gathering anything I can find that's long enough to make that span. Those 4x4s aren't long enough. But and when we had to cut so many alders out, and there are the alders that we cut out. Now what to do with them? In the past I would have burned them, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I know better now. I think I'll put them back in the water, but I want to hold water. I don't want my bridge to blow out, but I think what I'll do is drag them maybe above the bridge and lay them across. I'm not sure. I hate to think of burning them, but but see, they're not willows, and they're not useful in the same way. Those are willows, those are basket willows, but they need to be cut back. Still on the subject of willows, this is more of a willow walk than a water walk in a way. These are basket willows for sure. I planted them here maybe 40 years ago, maybe longer. But I never did really prune them, and I probably should. But there's no doubt that that's what they are. And what I did with cuttings, those were willow cuttings, I think. I just put them in the drain. The natural drain is over there, but I'm in the business of holding water as much as I can, especially after that drought of last year. So anyway, lots of work to be done here. I mean, lots of tuning up to be done. But then that's kind of the way there is. There's lots of work to be done all the time if you got land.